Hey guys, welcome to Bear Loves Film. I'm Bear Clark, and this is a spoiler review of Infinity War. So this is spoilers right the way through. So we got a lot to get through, guys. I apologise, this will be quite a long video. I know I tend to ramble anyway. To begin with, I have seen it 4 times so far. I say so far because I'm almost certainly going to see it again. One of the amazing things I found with Infinity War was the audience reaction. Now, there's very few films that I think really get the audience going. I mean, I think probably the only other film I can think of that has this sort of reaction to it and the feeling in the cinema as far as excitement and expectation is concerned is the Star Wars films. Certainly when I went to see the opening of Infinity War, it reminded me very much of the first time I went to see the opening showing of The Force Awakens. This is something that the fans had waited years for, and you could actually feel this nervous tension, this electricity in the audience as it was deathly quiet as the film started. And that's the same with Infinity War. Because for me, film is emotion. You know, I don't go to see the movies for SJW type politics. I don't care whether it's some sort of subtle message about Trump. I don't give a crap about that. I go to the movies for the emotion. Does this film make me laugh? Does it scare the crap out of me? Does it make me so excited I'm on the edge of my seat? One of the concerns I had going into Infinity War was the humour, because obviously Marvel puts a lot of humour into its films. And there are times when they get very close to breaking the tension of a moment with a comedy line, but the comedy that's in pretty much works. Every audience I've seen this film with laughed very loud at certain things. You know, the where's Gamora, who's Gamora, why Gamora, and every other comment in between. And the interaction really works. I mean, we have some very larger than life characters. Now that seems a crazy thing to say in a superhero movie, but bear with me now. We've got people like Tony Stark. I mean, the guy's arrogance knows no bounds. As Doctor Strange says to him in Infinity War, I don't know how your head fits inside that helmet. And that's very true. We have very strong characters. We've got Star-Lord butting heads, obviously, with Iron Man. We have Thor with Star-Lord and the lovely sort of interface they have where they kind of sort of going man-to-man, trying to point score. We have some great interactions there. The real brilliance of the very setup of this film, because with a massive ensemble cast, you've got to think, how are we going to manage this? And the basics that the Russo brothers used made perfect sense. They basically took the holy trinity of the MCU, Thor, Iron Man and Captain America, and broke them apart. Put those 3 in different places, gave them different teams to work around, different storylines to work along. So the Russos have very carefully, very cleverly found out the parts that really work and what holds the MCU together and built teams around those, and I think that worked brilliantly. So this is my first introduction to the Black Order, to basically these 4 children of Thanos, if you like, who are basically his henchmen, his royal guard. I thought they worked really well. I would have loved to have seen a little bit more backstory with them, obviously, but you've got so much going on. There's no way they could possibly have given us some backstory. Ebony Maw. Now, Ebony Maw was amazing. When we first started with the film, the very first things when you start to hear this voice coming across, and I'm thinking, it doesn't sound very threatening, doesn't sound very villain-like or evil. But his devotion to Thanos and his feeling that what they're doing is they're on a crusade, they're on a religious crusade to save the universe. His passion, his devotion to Thanos, his total belief in that what's happening is right. You know, you're dying at the hand of the Titan, and it's an honour for us to kill you. You know, and for you to die at the hands of a Titan. I thought that was great. I thought it was really well worked. I thought the CG of the characters was flawless. They looked brilliant. I loved his power set. I mean, Ebony Maw particularly, the way he sort of offhand just sort of raised things up and sent them forward. He just looked so stylish. I love the Black Order. It's a shame that they're all dead, because I think they were cool villains. I'd love to see if we ever go back in time, whether it's in Avengers 4 or whatever, I would love to see more of the Black Order for definite. Now, of course, we've got some missing characters. 2 characters mainly that are pointed out as missing is Hawkeye and Ant-Man. Now, we do hear Scarlet Witch say that because they have family commitments but the other guys don't, they cut a deal with Ross, and that therefore they were out of the picture. So we have had hints that from the Russo brothers that Hawkeye will actually have quite a important role to play in Avengers 4. We don't know about Ant-Man for Avengers 4. Well, it hasn't been confirmed. Now, obviously, we've got Ant-Man and the Wasp coming out. That happens, I believe, after Civil War, but before Infinity War, or maybe leading into Infinity War. So who knows? Maybe we have a situation where at the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp, they witness half of the world just be destroyed when Thanos clicks his fingers. Perhaps we're going to actually see that one of those is lost. Doesn't have to be Wasp, it could be Ant-Man. Maybe Ant-Man dies, and maybe we actually see the Wasp team up with the Avengers. That'll be an interesting dynamic. That'll bring another female character into the fold, which is very much, obviously, very male dominated. Now, another one that struck me, this hasn't been anything that's teased in the film, and this might be just a little bit of dodgy information on the internet, and let's face it, it's the internet, so 90% of information in the internet is dodgy. But if you go into Google and you type in Infinity War's cast, you'll come up with, it'll say Hawkeye, and it'll say Paul Rudd for Ant-Man and things like that. But it'll also talk about Isabella Amara. And it quotes her as Bluebird. Now, Isabella Amara is one of the sort of sciencey geeks in the group that goes off on the bus trip in Spider-Man Homecoming. So she's a character in there that we don't really see very much of. But she's labelled as Bluebird. Now, Bluebird is a Marvel Comics character. I hadn't heard of Bluebird, I'll be honest. I had to look it up. And she doesn't look like the character. Now, obviously, people don't have to look like the character. Jazzy Beats doesn't look anything like Domino from the comics, from the Deadpool comics. So, but she's labelled as Bluebird. Maybe this is some sort of weird misdirect by the Russo brothers again, like the way they put the Hulk into the trailers, when we know full well that Hulk doesn't fight on Wakanda now. But that's just an interesting thing I noticed on Google. As I say, it doesn't mean it's going to happen, but I was just curious if we're going to have even more characters arrive in Avengers 4. Let's talk about the deaths as they go along. Now, Hallamdale's death, Idris Elba, bless him. The guy's a great actor. He doesn't seem to be on a roll, really. I think he took quite a hit with the awful Stephen King adaptation for The Dark Tower. So he seems to be doing better in his TV roles than he is in his movie roles, which is a shame, because he's a brilliant guy, he's a brilliant actor, and I would have liked to have seen awful lot more of him. Why did he transport Hulk to Earth? When he tuned the dark energy for the Bifrost and he sent the Hulk back to Earth, why was it the Hulk? Why didn't he send Thor? That kind of, I don't know. Every time I watch the film, I still think, surely you should have sent Thor back. But Loki's death was the one I was definitely expecting. That was definitely the one going into the film. I thought, I am absolutely sure Loki's going to die. Now, will Loki come back? I don't think he will. And if I'm honest, I don't think he should. Not because I don't like Tom Hiddleston's character. Loki is fabulous. He's been a brilliant sort of anti-hero all the way through the MCU. But I think it would cheapen this film if they were to nullify his death and bring him back. It's notable that Valkyrie is missing. A lot of people wondered, what's happened to Valkyrie? Is she dead or anything else? It has been confirmed by the Russo brothers that she did escape. It was her that led the escape pods leaving the Asgardian ship. So we do know half the crew survived. And according to the Russo brothers, Valkyrie actually took the rest of the survivors in shuttles and in escape pods and led them to safety. Star-Lord's attempt to kill Gamora when she pleaded for him to do so, I thought that was a really good moment. I think Chris Pratt really sold the moment. I think it went well. I loved the fact that Thanos looked at him and said, she's asked you. She's asked you. And then says, do it. do it. And he even says to Gamora, he said, you asked too much of him. He's basically saying to Gamora, look, you cannot expect somebody who loves you that deeply to want to be able to kill you. And I love the fact that Thanos actually said, I like you, when he pulled Gamora and disappeared. They put an awful lot of extra layers between Gamora and Thanos and building their relationship up. When she thought she killed him and she broke down and cried, I thought that was a brilliant moment. I thought that really was, because it showed how conflicting she was. She hated this man. She hated him with a passion. She hated the way he butchered people, how he treated, how he murdered and tortured so many people across the universe, how he tortured and was so vile to her sister, or surrogate sister, Nebula. She hated him for that. But at the end of the day, he also was her father figure. He brought her up. And there was that love-hate relationship. And I think the fact that she broke down in tears was a crucial moment in the film. I think it had so much weight, and I'm so glad that they included that. There's also little cues as well we get about the relationship. If you watch it, it's very subtle, but if you watch it, when Gamora and Thanos arrive to go and collect the Soul Stone, when we have the appearance of the Soul Stone Guardian, we don't know who he is to begin with, Thanos very gently lifts his gauntlet. It's only a very subtle thing, but it's there. He's instinctively going to protect her. And of course we have the Red Skull reveal, which an awful lot of people thought it was Hugo Weaving that was in the Red Skull. It wasn't. It was very obvious, wasn't it? Let's face it, it was very obvious as soon as he started talking about the fact that there was a price for the Soul Stone. There had to be a sacrifice, a soul for a soul. Everybody knew, apart from Gamora, that it was going to be Gamora. And I've seen a lot of criticism on some of the other critics' channels where they said it was stupid, it was ridiculous, it was obviously going to be Gamora. Well, yes, it was. It was obvious to everybody apart from Gamora, and that's the bloody point. Gamora thought that Thanos was a heartless, killing bastard. She thought that he didn't care about anything. And that moment when she realises, actually, yes, he does love me. That tear is actually for me. She wants to mock him. You've asked the universe for something, and the universe has said no. She thinks it's his final comeuppance, but in actual fact, it's his final revelation. It's the revelation that he does actually love her. He's always loved her, and he's going to have to sacrifice her because he can't turn away from his destiny, or what he sees as his destiny, anymore. And I think when he just took hold of her arm, she's screaming at him no, and he just throws her off the side. Oh my God, what a moment. I thought that was amazing. Scarlet Witch killing Vision. Again, it's something that by part way through the film we know is probably going to have to happen. From the trailers, we had just assumed he gets killed by Thanos or presumably by the Black Order when you see him having the Soul Stone trying to be removed from his head. But it's actually Scarlet Witch that has to do it. Now, because they've set up this love between Scarlet Witch and Vision, it does carry more weight. I think Paul Bettany really sold the character as, I'm not just an unthinking machine. I have feelings, but I accept I've got to die. I'm willing to do it. I'll take it for the team because it's the only way. And I'm sorry that it has to be you, Wanda, but you're the one that has to pay the price. And I think Elizabeth Olsen did a beautiful job of expressing that. In fact, to be fair, everybody but one person, no, two people, everybody but two people were perfect in this film with their acting. And then, of course, Thanos brings Vision back to life just to kill him again. So she gets to know he dies twice, which is even more heartbreaking. Standout characters? Well, first and foremost has to be Thor. Chris Hemsworth, full props to the guy. I think this was his best portrayal as Thor, because particularly when he has the interaction with Rocket, when he's basically saying, well, I've lost my mum, I've lost my dad, I've lost my sister, I've lost my world, I've lost my best friend, I've lost an eye. What more can I lose? And you really feel for the guy. This is the guy who is ridiculously, massively powerful. He's a god. He's the god of lightning. But he's just, he's broken. He's just got nothing left other than to kill Thanos. Thor definitely needs a trilogy of his own. Marvel, come on. We need another 3 films with Thor. Now we can see what he can do. Now he's got Stormbreaker. Now he's got his amazing powers. Let's see what he can do. There's so much more that Chris has got to give to this character, and I really hope they give it to him. Doctor Strange, obviously he powered up considerably. That was very enjoyable when he split himself into different aspects. Zoe Saldana as Gamora, definitely, again, her best portrayal of Gamora. She put her heart and soul into this character, and it really showed. Thanos, oh my god, Thanos. Brutal yet compassionate, brilliantly mad, but also the combination of Josh Brolin's nuanced acting and voice work and perfect CGI. He is definitely my favourite villain of the MCU, easily. He's probably, I'm going to have to say now, he's probably the best superhero villain we've seen on screen so far. Now, I say that because of his entire character, how he's portrayed, the nuances, what he achieves, how powerful he is. This doesn't detract from Heath Ledger, who I think gives the best performance as as any character in the superhero movies. So Heath Ledger gives the best performance, but I feel that Thanos is the best villain. And Rocket, I just love it when Rocket turns around to Bucky and goes, "Oh, I'm so gonna get that arm." Talking about the arm, what a disappointment. Sorry, but what a disappointment with the arm. It's Wakanda. You've seen the amazing nanotech they've got, and they give him an arm, and what does it do? It picks Rocket up and holds him while he fires a gun. I was expecting that to turn into some sort of particle cannon or do something. So standout moments, Star-Lord being jealous of Thor, that was brilliant. That the two bros sort of having some sort of pissing contest with Gamora in the middle, that was classic. I love the attack on Vision and Scarlet Witch in Scotland. Obviously, standout moment for that is the appearance of Captain America. He doesn't make a huge entrance, he literally just hits his shadow. But definitely for me, for the standout moment was when Thor arrived in the light beam, in the Bifrost beam, in the centre of Wakanda, slammed down into the ground. The Stormbreaker spins out, cutting thousands of these creatures into pieces as it goes, and then comes back into his hand. And he stands there, and he's pristine, and he's glistening with lightning, and he's got Rocket and Groot with him, and he's holding the Stormbreaker, and then Banner shouts out, "Oh, you guys are so screwed now!" That was... I absolutely love that. That was my favourite bit of the whole film, I think. There are some dislikes. The refusal of Hulk to show, I think, was a disappointment. I can kind of understand what they were doing with it, and perhaps it was the fact that maybe because Hulk got such a beating from Thanos, perhaps it actually scared him back inside his shell. Perhaps you don't think of the Hulk being scared, but in Ragnarok we saw a Hulk that could communicate, had more feelings and than just rage. So perhaps fear is one of those ones now. Perhaps we're going to see a Hulk that actually has to be coaxed out rather than angered out now. Perhaps, I don't know. But obviously one of the big fan theories was the fact that when we see the Hulkbuster in the trailers go down onto the ground and get swamped by the creatures, the assumption is that the Hulk is going to burst out of him. And that assumption was also boosted by the fact that one of the toy sets that came out before the film had the Hulkbuster and also the Hulk figure, rather than Bruce Banner figure, in the playset. So everyone thought, oh yeah, we know that's going to happen. So it didn't happen. Mark Ruffalo, I don't know what they're doing with Mark Ruffalo's character as Bruce Banner. It doesn't seem to have real direction. Obviously, like an awful lot of people, I'm seriously pissed off at Star-Lord for losing his rag at Thanos when they were so close. I mean, literally, Spidey virtually had that gauntlet off, and Star-Lord lost his rag, and because of that, well, possibly because of that, they lost. Now, I talked earlier, I said there's two people that I didn't think worked, two actors I didn't think brought it to the film. One is Mark Ruffalo, as I've already said. The other thing is Peter Dinklage. I thought he was awful. I don't know whether it's his ridiculous accent. No, Asgard was supposed to protect us. I don't know what it was, but I don't think it worked. The CGI is virtually flawless in this film. The only one bit that stands out, unfortunately, was right near the end. Bruce Banner is sat inside the Hulkbuster suit with the top down, and you see him sat in there. And that just looked wrong. It looked like they just stuck it on and he was almost floating rather than actually part of that whole CG moment. It reminded me straight away of sort of Justice League lip type of badness. That's how bad it was. And considering the amount of money and considering the amazing work in every other frame of this film, that was crap. I'm sorry, Marvel, but that looked bad. You've already made $1 billion on this film in the first week or two. spend some of that money, touch that bit of work up before it comes out on the DVD. And then, of course, we've got to talk about the end credit scene. Now, the end credit scene was brilliant. It worked perfectly. I think it showed the relevance to the fact that if you lose half the people in the universe, that's going to cause more than half the people in the universe to die. You know, if you've got 300 people on a plane and the pilot just suddenly disappears, you're going to lose the plane. So losing the helicopter, people crashing in the streets because suddenly there's nobody in the car, that makes perfect sense. I think that really needs to be done. Obviously Nick Fury going to say "mother" as he fades away was great. The fact that he uses the very old tech bleeper to contact makes sense, because this is harking back to a film that we haven't seen yet, obviously Captain Marvel, but will be set in the 90s. I understand that last little moment will be lost on people who aren't big fans, or maybe even if they're people that are only fans of the films. In conclusion, the Russo brothers did an amazing job of juggling so many characters. You know, we've all got our favourites. I would have liked to see a bit more Captain America in there. There's others that would have wanted to see more of this, or there's people that's going to say, well, you know, I really wanted the Hulk. You know, where was the Hulk? I wanted to see the Hulk in there. But there were some bold choices, and they actually put higher stakes into the film. You actually felt the stakes were there. Now, I know some of that taken away by the fact that you think, well, obviously Black Panther's not going to die because we know he's got another film coming up. Obviously Spider-Man's not dead because he's got another film coming up. So yes, we know that an awful lot of these characters are going to come back. But, you know, surely we've lost Loki. Surely we've probably lost Gamora, unless she's contained within the Soul Stone and they managed to bring her back out of the Soul Stone. The breathtaking battles, to my mind, the best villain in the MCU, the best actual villain of any comic, any superhero film that we've had so far. I feel it was a spectacle that was worth the 10 years of build-up. This film is something that we've all been looking forward to, thinking this has got to be something special, and I think it was something special. I think it's actually an amazing bit of filmmaking. You know, when you look at, say, The Lord of the Rings, you know, that Peter Jackson, that was amazing craft of filmmaking. I think the Russo brothers have shown an amazing talent for a craft for actually filmmaking. This, I think, is an amazing piece of filmmaking. I think it was brilliantly wrapped up from start to finish. Yes, it's effectively the first half of the two-parter, because Avengers 4 is going to be the conclusion of this big battle, but it works in its own merit. It's one self-contained film. It has a start, it has an end. Whether you like the end, whether you think it's just chopped too soon and you wanted to see more, the fact is it has a self-contained unit. I think it's bloody brilliant. Yes, I know I'm still hyper about it. The first video I shot was literally after I come out of the midnight showing. It's 3 o'clock in the morning and I was buzzed. I'm buzzed just talking about it. I absolutely adore this film. I've seen it 4 times. I will see it again. I've said for well over a year that this was going to beat The Force Awakens for initial box office takings, and every critic, whether it's John Campea, whether it's people I know at work, everyone was like, no, there's no way it can beat Star Wars. Yeah, it'll be close, but it's no way it can beat Star Wars. I still feel that this is going to get into the $2 billion club as well. So that's my review, guys. That's my spoiler review. As I say, I'm sorry I'll go on a little bit, but I love this film and I really wanted to talk about it. I'd love to hear what you think. You know, don't be shy. Put down in the comments below, what do you think? What worked? What didn't? How many times have you seen it? Have you seen it as many times as me? Have you seen it more times than me? I'd love to hear in the comments below. And if you haven't subscribed already, guys, please do subscribe. I post new videos every week. And if you like this video, give it a like as well. It's always appreciated. And as ever, I'll see you next time.